Hi, this is Shauna from the Foil Fox, and here I am on the Paper Tray Ink and Ink to Paper YouTube channel, and I am introducing you to another set in our in this latest release. First, this is the Just Sentiments Appreciation, has some great sentiments in it, and then the big set here is the Enchanting Roses, which it's a 2-panel set, and it has this cluster of roses that has 4 layering stamps plus some leaves. And then there is the matching die set. And then one of my very favorites is this wonderful intricate floral border, which is called Dainty Deliveries, and it has some sentiments that it can cut out as well. And then from a very recent release called A Delicate Doilies, I'm going to be using the large one of that. It cuts 3 wonderful decorative circles. So I'm also, for the paper, I'm going to be using as a white card panel and then some Bristol paper that's in the white. I do mark a B on the Bristol paper just so I can keep it straight, because I'm going to be using that for the inking. This is fine linen. Vintage cream, and then this darker one is fine linen. And then I have craft, but I'm going to exchange that craft for hydrangea, which is a beautiful colored paper you can get at foilfox.com. Now I'm going to take these 4 stamps, and I have marked them 1, 2, 3, 4 in the series that I like. I'm going to start out with the most intricate, and then I'm going to work my way through from the most intricate to the simplest layering stamps. I have 4 blue paper tray ink colors. I'm going to start out with Blueberry Sky. I'm going to ink this up really nicely. I'm going to spritz it. This is why I use Bristol paper, number 1. It accepts ink very nicely, but it also can handle a little bit of water. I think I'm going to ink this up again because there's just a few areas where it's maybe not as clear or as vibrant as I'd like it to be. And then I'm going to stamp this. Then we'll go on to the next layer. And you can see how easy it is with the next layer. See, that's the next one that is the most intricate. And it's easy to line them up. And when you have it in a stamp positioner like this, it's really easy to get really great positioning. You can take your time doing it, and then you know it's going to stamp right in the right place and you won't have any mishaps. And I'm going to stamp this one with one of my favorite colors. It's called Dark Indigo. Very deep color. I'm really inking this up, really generously. And I'm going to spritz it as well because I want those inks to blend a little bit. And I got really good coverage on that one. So I'll go on to the next one. So you can see the next one is that one. And you could just kind of follow along. I've already mounted this one just like I did the other one. I lined it up perfectly. I'm using Enchanted Evening for this one, which is a wonderful medium blue. I'm spritzing it. This is a great way to use some of these beautiful blues. And then the final one, I have put the stamp, the last one that just has little accent stamps. It's meant to have kind of more of a reflection, and I think the lighter color looks really nice with that. So I use Spring Rain for that. And so now I'm going to do the leaves. There's 2 leaves. I'm using Spring Moss, and Ripe Avocado is a little bit of the shading. As always, I'm going to use the same technique that I always do, is blend it with my finger a little bit, then spritz it, and then stamp. This gives you kind of that watercolory look, which I really, really like. And I really like these colors that go so nicely with the blue. So I'm going to stamp these again, because you just never know how many leaves you'll want to have. And I'm using the same colors again, Spring Moss and Ripe Avocado. I'm going to blend and spritz. And then when I noticed that I must have had a little strand of hair that I couldn't see on my stamp, probably figures I have a white cat and he loves to get into the middle of everything. And so I'm just taking a little bit of water and a little bit of the ripe avocado, and I'm putting the water on my brush and a little bit of ripe avocado and blending it out. I'm not going to worry too much about it because I'm going to stamp the veining over the top, which here I've put them in position. I'm using ripe avocado and stamping those veins and doing that to all of these leaves. And then now I have that all the stamping done for this. So I'm going to take the dies that come with this die set that matches the Enchanting Rose, and I'm going to cut those all out so you see them on the left side. And then I'm taking this Dainty Deliveries, and I'm going to take the vintage cream and cut that out. I'm going to take the white panel and cut out the big doily. So now you see the intricate dies all cut out and the white doily. And I have that hydrangea. Isn't that a beautiful color? And then I'm putting a cream panel that's just slightly smaller so I can still see the hydrangea. Then the fine linen panel on top of that that's just the same size as that wonderful vintage cream Dainty Deliveries that I just cut out. So this Dainty Deliveries little floral border is cut from the vintage cream, and then I'm going to mount it onto the fine linen, and I'm just dotting it with glue. I do like to use a liquid glue because I want it to be able to slip a little bit, and I'm just putting dots. I don't need to put them everywhere, just enough where it'll stick. If I miss some areas, I can always take a toothpick and put a little glue on it and put it just in these little areas, because these are little tiny areas. So you can see I put a little bit of glue on my work surface, and then with a toothpick I'm just putting a tiny bit on my toothpick and putting it underneath some of those areas. You see, just to stick them down. You don't have to have it all stuck down. And now I'm going to layer these up. I'm using that vintage cream panel that just fits just right inside the hydrangea card base. Next, I'm going to add this panel that we just did that had that has the Dainty Deliveries border mounted on it. And this one's just a little bit smaller, so we're just giving a really nice matted look to it. And then with the doily, I'm going to put a little bit of a foam circle there. And you can use foam tape if you would like to. And I'm going to push that in position. I wanted that popped up a little bit. That's why I'm using a little bit of foam. And now with these flowers, I've already put some foam tape on the back of it. I'm just going to kind of lightly put them in place just to see, and just kind of put these leaves around as well, just to get an idea of this is the way this is the way I want it. And I think that I'm going to do the sentiment right now. This is from the Just Sentiments Appreciation, and I chose With Gratitude. It's very pretty. And I stamped it, and I moved it a little bit. I didn't follow my own advice and just kind of kissed the paper. So I'm going to do it again just by just lightly kissing the paper. Then I'm going to take a pair of detail scissors, and I'm just going to cut around this. I really love it. I don't know if you saw it in the last release, like in Effortless Beauty, and there was a lot of them like this, that it will cut out around the sentiment without any additional background to it. And I really like that. And I thought, well, maybe I can do that myself with this sentiment. And you know, it works out pretty nicely. So I'm just cutting around that. That way it doesn't cover so much of the beautiful flowers. Now I'm going to take a little bit of glue and put these leaves in position. And I think that it's a good thing that I did a few more leaves, because I think it needs a little bit more. I put a little bit of foam tape on the sentiment, but I want just a little bit more leaves, so I'm going to add in some of these, just a few more, just glue them in position. And then, believe it or not, this really charming card is all done. And part of what makes it so charming is the background with that wonderful dainty deliveries. It's very lacy and filigree-ish like. And then the flowers, the roses are just so pretty. Roses are my favorite flowers, so this was a perfect match for me. I really hope that you enjoyed the project. I certainly enjoyed being here today with you. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And here is a few items that I use: the Enchanted Roses, the Dainty Deliveries, Delicate Doilies, and the Just Sentiments Appreciation. Then there's inks. You can always go to blog.inktopaper.com or go to foilfox.com. We have all the supplies there as well. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.